I'm not too old. Like there are women starting new businesses. They're deciding to travel the world. They're deciding to get divorced because I'm good. I can be my own person. And we've historically, as a collective, as women, we have put everyone else first. And I feel like midlife, I still have some kids at home, but they're going to be gone in a year. We're still parenting, but we have all these years ahead. I'm 55. If someone said Jen, it's over, you just have to go play pickleball, I would literally swallow the goodbye pill because and I meet a lot of women like this too. I've never been more fired up about what's possible.
Welcome, everybody, to the Life is Now, Do It While You Can show. I'm Suzanne Oshima, and I'm a life coach for women in midlife. And today we have a very special guest, Jen Marples, and she's a self-proclaimed #1 champion of midlife women, the leader of the YNTFO pro-age movement. And ladies, I know you're probably like, what is that? She will tell you what that is. And she's also the host of the Jen Marples Show podcast. And today we are talking about if you want to change your life, you just need to do this one simple thing. So welcome, Jen. I'm so excited to have you here.
Well, thank you, Suzanne, for having me on your beautiful podcast. I'm honored.
I know. Well, before we jump into this topic, I would love to know, how did you become a champion for women in midlife?
It's kind of like if you see a broken system, you kind of have to fix it. I am 55 going on 56 shortly in the next month or two. And I started all my work with midlife women really about 5 years ago. And that was, do the math, I was turning 50. And a couple different things were happening at the same time. I have a long PR and marketing background, and I had shut down a PR firm in San Francisco years ago, and I've been doing some consulting, but I'd also started doing events for women. And I was like, okay, what do I want to do? I'm like, maybe I should, go back into consulting or go find a job. I was just kind of like putting the feelers out. And then I was very quickly getting the message that you're too old and we don't want to pay you that kind of money. So that was happening. And I was just doing little informational things, talking to people that I knew. And then there was this war raging on LinkedIn. A friend of mine had written a post about ageism in the workplace and how she was noticing that it was so hard for everyone, kind of tipping at it high 40s, 50s. We're all in our prime brain years, but we're also in our prime earning years, that it was really hard to find a job. And her post went viral. Hundreds and hundreds of comments, men and women, going, gosh, it's so hard to find a job. And ageism, it's the last thing in the DEI box that we need to check because, no one's really talking about it. It wasn't impacting men too, but I'm like, I can't save the whole world. I just got to, deal with the women. And then I was also, on the verge of turning 50. So there were all these things kind of happening. And then one sort of pivotal sort of moment, I was in the yoga bathroom because all the best conversations happen in a yoga bathroom. I'm a big yogi. So this beautiful woman in the yoga bathroom was probably around 60. And I overheard her conversation with a friend and she was saying, I'm just going to give up. And something overtook my whole being. It came out of nowhere. And I said, oh my God, you can't give up. Why would you give up? My God, you have so much life ahead of you. Why would you give up? And so that sort of started me putting all these pieces together going, I remember not being super excited to turn 40, but 50 is really this pivotal time, and especially in a woman's life. So I was experiencing what I'm just going to call ageism. I was seeing this conversation happening. I was seeing the way women were feeling, and she's but one of many women I have since talked to then over the years who just kind of are going into 50 kicking and screaming. Put all the pieces together. I'm like, all right, something's got to change. Because first of all, to kick us out of the workplace and to tell us that we're not vital and we're not valued is also dangerous to us financially, because no one's retiring at 65. We're living these long and vital lives. And so if we're giving up, well, what are we doing? And so, I'd done coaching training. I'd done all these things after I had shut down my PR firm. So I kind of just put all these things together. I'm like, I'm going to start hosting women's events. And so my first foray into it, I just on a hunch in 2 weeks, I said, women come over. We're going to do coaching light. We're going to have a dinner party. 20 women showed up. I had a catered dinner. We did not get through introductions before women were just pouring out their deepest, darkest like secrets, and like they felt filled with shame of, I want to start my business, but my mother told me I was too old. Another woman was like going through bankruptcy. Another woman had cancer. And so this ageism piece came together with this other piece of women needed a place to connect and have real deep conversations. Because I firmly feel in midlife, the only way we're getting through it and thriving, today, tomorrow, and then beyond is with the power of community and our friendships and connection. It's also, by the way, the number one predictor of longevity is being in community and having that sense of connection. So I put all of that together and did these events. I was like, my little hypothesis came true. And this was pre-COVID. I said, you know what, we're feeling more disconnected in this ever connected world, and I'm going to do something about it. And so I've been wanting to do a podcast. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go all in, and kind of like walked away from all my PR consulting, launched the podcast 4 years ago. And I just showed up and I said, here I am. I've got this hunch and I want to bring us together. And to this day, 4 years in, we focus on, self, sort of health, like the wealth, like the career and our money mindset, as well as the most important thing, which is community, connection, friendships, and just all the real stuff that happens in midlife. Because we need to talk about all of it. It's all equally important. And we need each other, because when we share our deepest truths, we feel more connected and less alone. And that was my theory years ago, and it remains true to this day, because I speak to so many women. I know you speak to so many women, Suzanne, and women are creating this connection. And in this time of, we're just surrounded and bombarded by all the negative messages that society is placing on us. It's anti-aging, and you're too old. You're not worth anything after 50. You're not sexy. You're not supposed to have sex. You're not supposed to stand out. You're not supposed to be fabulous and brilliant. And I just say, the hell with all of that. We just have to put that aside and know that's not other women saying that to each other. It's some society and system that we've all been a part of. I mean, I just think of that first magazine we all read when we were like 12 or 13, teen magazine, Mademoiselle, and it turned into Vogue, and just all the negative sort of programming we've been getting as women. And so if you're all wondering what that YNTFO, it stands for, you're not too fucking old. So when I was kicking off my podcast, I mean, it's called the Jen Marples Show, but the taglines, you're not too fucking old. I have twin girls who are 18, and this was years ago, so they were younger. And I was doing the taglines, and I was doing, you're not too old. And then I did, you're not too fucking old. And then my kids are like, yeah, mom, that's the one. And so I really came up with that rallying cry because it's urgent. It is urgent.
Yeah.
Like you need to know that you have agency and that you're worthy just as you are. And just to get rid of that societal programming and come hang with us, come hang with Suzanne and me. And we're going to tell you, you're not too old, and the best years can truly be ahead of you.
Well, Jen, first of all, I love your story, and I love that you're all about empowering women in midlife. But your tagline, why I think it's so important to use a quote unquote shocking word is because, and not that I'm shocked because I used to live in New York, so I'm used to the F word. But the reason why I think it's important to use that is because it's like a slap in the face to women in midlife that have believed that society is telling us that we're too old, we're not enough, that they've forgotten about us. And it's like that slap in the face of, wake up. No, you're not. You need to stand up, be proud, and be proud of your age. I mean, I don't know about you, Jen, but for me, I have never shied away from telling my age. I always tell my age because I'm proud of it. And God, I don't want to go back to my 20s or 30s. I am so proud of where I'm at, and I can't wait for what's next in the next decade and the next decade after that. So, I don't know about you, but that's how I feel about that.
I do. And I'm glad you brought up, the language, because I went back and forth and I'm like, it's not like I swear like a sailor all the time. But it's, and I come from PR and marketing. Like I used to work with big Fortune 500 companies and branding and messaging. That's all in my wheelhouse. And I knew that to your point, like it needed to be provocative. It needed to wake people up because it's too urgent a message. And, quite frankly, there's a lot of people who don't like it and they're very vocal about it. I'm like, well, then it's not for you, or maybe you'll come around. But it's really just to shake you and make you really think exactly what you just said. It's like, well, I'm not too old. Like, there are women starting new businesses. They're deciding to travel the world. They're deciding to get divorced because, like, I'm good. Like, I can be my own person. And we've historically, as a collective, as women, we have put everyone else first. We have put everyone else first. And I feel like midlife, I mean, I still have some kids at home, but they're going to be gone in a year. And, we're still parenting, but we have all these years ahead. I'm 55. If someone said, like, Jen, like, it's over, like, you just have to go play pickleball, I would literally swallow like the goodbye pill, because I'm and I know meet a lot of women like this too. Like, I've never been more fired up about what's possible. And I'm not here to sugarcoat it and be like, there aren't the hard things. There are the hard things. I mean, just this morning, I'm talking to my son, working through a really big issue, and he's a sophomore in college, and I'm trying to get my girls through school. My mom had, heart issues earlier this year. We all have the same stuff that we're dealing with. And so I'm really proud of the podcast. We go deep. We get a little rah-rah, but we also go deep because I love Chip Conley. He just wrote an article calling about the tension of midlife, where we can be over here, like, we're on this podcast, we're so excited to, like, share the message and empower women. And also, there can be some real heavy stuff going on. Like, there's stuff with parents or kids or friendships or whatever. But we can dance in between it. And it's also life. But as we get older, we're going to be dealing with more of this stuff. But if anyone takes anything away from this conversation, it's just that believing in yourself and believing in the possibility, and that you do get to put yourself first, and you do get to do what you want. And ain't nobody going to tell you otherwise. And quite frankly, the people that get in our way are ourselves. And
Yeah.
so if you just, keep listening to podcasts and keep, putting yourself out there, and, hopefully you too will believe that you can and should and will and absolutely can thrive from this day forward.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I know everybody is wondering right now, Jen, what is that one thing that is so simple that I need to do to completely change my life? So what is it, Jen?
Well, it's it's a simple word, Suzanne, and it can be the hardest thing, and that is just decide. Just
Yeah.
decide you want to do the thing, or just decide to take a small step. Just decide to change something up. And I think we all get overwhelmed. I did a whole podcast episode on just this power of decision. Just decide, you're not going to take it anymore. And, you're going to maybe break up a friendship that's not nurturing. Or just decide you can't take the corporate world anymore, and you want to go work at a nonprofit, or maybe start your own business. Or just decide, if you're not partnered up and that's your goal is to find new love, then just decide that you're going to go out there and find love or find new friends. And so it's quite simple in theory, but it's very hard to do because we get in our own way. And so my best advice is just to take a baby step, because we tend to look at the end result, and that might take 100 or 300 steps to get there. And so you just shut down and go and Netflix and chill. I'm totally guilty of that, because it's easier to do that
Yeah.
than to change your life. But you just have to really think in 5 years, like, how are you going to be feeling if you didn't pursue that thing and decide to do that thing? Because you'll talk yourself out of everything. I'm too old to take ballet lessons. I'm too old to lift weights, or I'm
Yeah.
too old to travel across the world. I'm too old to completely change my career. I'm too old to write a book. I mean, okay, well, if you say you are, then you are. But what if you said, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to find love. I'm going to start that business. So just decide. And you've got to re-enroll in that decision every single day. And y'all listening, it's hard. And I say this stuff because I got to listen to it every day myself. Like, there's probably 20 mantras I got to go through every morning to, like, get me going for the day, because life and everything around you will try to, like, distract you and suck you dry. And you have to, and I have all these other tips and tools, but you've got to really cut out the noise and put yourself first. Because if you make that one decision or take that one step or reach out to Suzanne because you want to change your life today, I mean, just think of where you could be in 5 years. And you don't know. And I have to say this too, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves that if we make one decision, that's the end all be all and it's the rest of our lives. No, you're just making a
Things
decision, and
change.
it's just change. And once you get used to change and trying something new, and maybe going, I always just say, like, go meet some new people, go to a lecture, go see your favorite authors speak, go to a concert, like just get yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit. And then the path will start opening up in new directions. You don't know where it's going to go, and embrace the serendipity of it and the excitement of it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and it's so true because I mean, I know that sometimes fear can hold us back, right? Because we're afraid that we're gonna fail, especially if you're like me and are a recovering perfectionist and you've been successful. And it's funny, you and I have something in common. I used to work in the ad agency world, so I totally get that. And so if you have these high expectations for yourself and then you're going into something totally new and you're like, oh my God, what if I fail? I think the question you should be asking yourself is not what if I fail? It's what if in 10 years I look back and then I'm so disappointed that I didn't follow my dream? That to me is more scary than the fear of actually failing. And so it's important to step through that fear because you never know what's going to happen. And it's exactly why my podcast is called Life is Now, Do It While You Can, is because I myself I had my own wake up call and I was diagnosed with cancer, and that woke my ass up really fast. And it made me realize that life is now. I have to do it while I can. And thank God I'm thriving with cancer now. But what if I wasn't? Then I would be regretting all the things that I didn't do, right? And what I want to relay to the women is don't wait for the wake up call that I got, because you trust me, you do not want that wake up call because it's scary. It's act now and don't wait, because you never know what's down the road and what could happen. And you never know. It could be something beautiful, like you said, writing a book, starting a business, whatever it is. You're the captain of your own ship. You get to do what you want, right? But you have to step forward and decide.
100%. And fear, you know, fear is a tricky little thing because it's there to keep us safe. And
Yeah.
y'all can do your research on it, but literally it's there to keep us safe from the lions and tigers and bears, right? And we're not living in that world anymore. And so I've just learned to embrace it. And, I've completely changed what I do. Like I was a spokesperson when I had my PR firm. I was a spokesperson for a bunch of companies and this and that. But, those were those companies. It wasn't me. And now in this realm, everything I'm putting out into the world is my own stuff. So it's really scary because someone can reject a company, but if someone doesn't come on board or want to listen to the podcast or come to an event I'm having, then that's like, oh my God, it's a rejection of me. So what I want to tell everybody is that fear is always going to show up. And it's great. You know why it's great? It's also showing that you're not a narcissist and a sociopath, that you have feelings in that. Because it's the people with no fear who are out there kind of really loud and like don't care. And so you care, but just know, it's just imagine fear on your shoulder, like, hi, you're there. You're there to keep me safe, but I'm just gonna shove you away because I know you're not like a saber-toothed, tiger or whatever those creatures are, like trying to get me. It's just, it's a reframe and go, if I'm not trying and failing, then am I not having any fun? So kind of make it fun. Someone had told me too, I was going out to like look for sponsors for an event. And a friend of mine said, she just have fun with it. Make it a game. Go and search for like 100 no's. Make it a game. Try to get 100 no's and 100 rejections. I'm like, okay. And she's like, so if you reframe the process as like, I'm trying to get a rejection instead of like, I just want you to like sign on and give me this money for my event. You're like, I'm looking for a no. And then you'll be surprised because then you're in the game. And so just, insert that for anything that you want to do. And just know every single person except the sociopaths and narcissists have fear. the most, the people that you see out there doing all the things, they still have fear. Everybody has it. It's normal, but don't let it stop you. And the way to not let it
Yeah.
stop you is to, I say to Suzanne, like, gosh, I really want to write my book, or I really want to start a podcast. Speak your dream out loud to somebody. And so that person can also support you and hold you accountable. It can be a friend, you can join a group, depending on what you want to do. Like if you're joining a gym, like find people that will support you and wrap you in that, that love and support that we all need. We all need it. And I'm sure you're in groups. I mean, you're a life coach. Like I've got my own coach. I've got freaking therapists, friends. I was like crying in the yoga bathroom this morning about the thing with my son. So you have different groups for different things because we're not meant to do this alone. And you probably, and especially, and this is a really big tip, and this is what I found, when you're out there trying something new, you might just need to find new people to help you. It's not going to be the current best friend that you have. It's not going to be your family. Find new people who are sort of on that same path. And it's really also having this growth mindset, because we can get stuck and it's really safe to stay where you are, but it's also really dangerous. It's like the more safe and comfortable you feel, the more dangerous it is. It's that whole adage, like no pain, no gain. It's like if you eat
Yeah.
cake every day, it's not like a special treat. It's not going to actually taste very good. So it's that same thing of, if I went out and I tried my hardest this week and I made that scary ask to do something, I asked for some big money, or I asked for a really scary, exciting person to be on the podcast. Think of, you're flexing your muscles, right? So you got to go to the gym and do it. But if you can't expect it to feel easy if you're not doing it a lot. And y'all, I've been doing this a long time too in this new realm. It's always scary. It's always scary, but you just push it aside and go, hey, you're here to keep me safe, but I'm going to go for it anyway, because, and this is the clincher, I want my life to be the way I'm envisioning my life to be. So get really clear on what you want. So if you want to go get fit, just envision being so strong at 80 and like, you know, beating your kid in the arm wrestle. Well, then you got to go to the gym. You got to start lifting weights.
Yeah.
If you want to go speak on stages, well, you better start speaking to 3 people at a small event, or at your church, or at your women's group. You got to start somewhere, and just don't
Yeah.
let fear stop you, and know that you're worthy. And this is, all women need to always hear this. You don't need any more degrees. You don't need any more qualifications. You can go out right now and go do it.
Yes. Yes. I love that you said that. I also want to add one thing that you said, because one thing that you shared was like about the people that you surround yourself with. And I totally agree, is because if you don't surround yourself with the right people that are supportive, right, and that encourage you to reach farther, stretch yourself, and do bigger things, then you're going to stay stuck. You're going to stay in your routine. And I think it's important to point out to women that when you're going to step into something new and you do start sharing it with people, you're going to have some naysayers. You're going to have people that say, "Oh, you can't do that," or "What are you thinking?" Is That's okay. The naysayers will always be there, but that doesn't mean, "Oh, that means I should stop," right? Or I should go in a different direction. If you're so clear with your vision and what you want and the steps you're gonna take, it's just feedback. It's just feedback. And it's important to keep going and to find other people that will support you. So I just wanted to point that out, because there's always going to be naysayers and people that try to kill your dream or make you feel like you're not enough to go and follow that dream.
Yeah, and I just want to add on to that, because it's really important that you don't take feedback only from people who are farther ahead of you. If somebody's there on their couch and they've had the same job for 25 years and they complain all the time, their feedback does not matter. It,
Yeah.
it does not matter. And so you have to be very discerning about where you're getting your feedback. And you've got to put yourself, like you said, you've got to put yourself in the rooms with people that are ahead of you doing the thing. Like, if I'm going to go train for a marathon, I'm not going to go hire a couch potato. I'm going to go hire somebody to help me who's like run a couple marathons. It's the same thing in like business and life. And they will come out. It's kind of like embracing those no's of like asking for money, your clients, like embrace the no. they will come out. And there's a couple reasons why, because people like to see you as you are. So if you start to change and you're in your friend group or you're in this realm that people are comfortable with the way you are, and this is especially true like in family systems, like everybody, has their place. But if you start to break out of that and want to try something new, it's very triggering for the people around you. So they're because they don't understand, like my parents, our parents' generation, they had one job. They don't understand entrepreneurship. How could you work for yourself? Gosh, it's so scary. Like, I don't need that stuff in my head. I know it's scary. I don't need that. I need to be surrounded by other entrepreneurs and women putting shit on the line every day. Like, I need that because that's where
Yeah.
I am. And so you just need to align yourself with those type of people. And when the naysayers come in, you just put up that shield. You understand it has everything to do with them and nothing to do with you. And so you've just
Yeah.
got to, you don't have to like break up friendships and things like that, but just don't talk about your goals and your hopes and dreams with those people. You find new people like Suzanne and me, because we'll be like your hype girls and you're like, awesome. But it's really because
Yeah,
you
we'll
don't want
cheer you
anyone.
on.
We'll cheer you on.
Well, and you bring up a really great point, Jen, and I want to point this out to women that are about to step into something bigger than themselves and they're kind of feeling scared. Is this is so important that you get a coach that can coach you through it. If you're feeling that afraid that you can't do it on your own, that's why we are coaches. But also, like you said, you have a coach, I have a coach, I have several coaches, because you want someone that is ahead of you. But the second part of this is you want to be in community with other women that are doing the same thing because it's just different. Like I have different communities that I belong to, whether it's a financial community, coaching community, women in midlife community, because they all serve a different purpose, but you need that community to support you because otherwise you feel like you're alone on an island.
And we don't want that feeling. And I'm like you, I have many different groups. I'm in a mastermind. I've got a business coach myself. I'm in a midlife group. And then I've got other small groups of entrepreneurs who are all kind of linked and kind of in the same space. So we collaborate and support each other. So, and it's very intentional. And then there's the other team of like, there's my yoga people, because then that's the whole mental health for me and the mind body connection. So then I have that whole like team. And we get to this age, it's like we got to have our teams and our support. And we were never meant to do life alone. We were never meant to do life alone. And I was just having this conversation yesterday. Like, we have all retreated more. I have got a home office and, I sometimes go crazy. And so there's a co-working space in my community. Like, I'll pop into there every now and again. But I do really spend a lot of time by myself. So like I have to force myself too, because we get in our routines. They're like, why am I feeling a little sad? I'm like, because I'm alone and I'm out there a lot. But then I feel like, okay, if I'm feeling a little disconnected, I'm like, I got to get out there more and like and co-working spaces are great. And if you're in a place that doesn't have them, there are a lot of groups online. You can do co-working just via Zoom, and it holds you accountable. It gets you with other people. You're like, oh, you're dealing with that too. And you can also share like cool tips and tricks on tech and all that kind of stuff. But it's seeing where people are in business. It's really important. I want to say one thing about the coaching, because you are a life coach, is that it's really hard for women to invest. It's, women by and large will spend money on handbags, will spend money, thousands and thousands on kids club soccer, all the things. But I think inherently, because most of us feel like we're not worthy of it, or who am I to invest in myself in this way? And it's the best investment you can make. And especially, I hired a coach immediately when I decided to do a podcast, which by the way, I was thinking about for 2 years, and then was like, okay, I'm going to shit or get off the pot. I hired a coach who had a podcast and who had a whole thing that I wanted to do. And that's what got me going, because she was many, many steps ahead. And then I was like, okay, the rubber's meeting the road here. Like, I got to make this happen. No more talking about it, Jen. Like, let's make it happen. So it's really important. So I'm so pro support in all the realms. And if you need, remember, coaches to help you move forward. If you have stuff you're dealing with in the past, then definitely go see a therapist. There's a little distinction there. And then just get your team together. Have your girls to like go have your Chardonnay with on Friday night, have your like workout people. And then I guarantee you, when you bring in that support, you are going to make leaps and bounds versus taking these baby steps or no steps at all, which is the scariest.
Yeah, that's so true. I'm so glad you brought that up because this is how I look at investing in a coach is it's not an expense, it's an investment. It's an investment not only in myself, but like you said, if somebody has gone on this journey that I want to go on, they're going to shorten the time for me to get from point A to point B. So why wouldn't I hire them? And I always look at that I can make this back. I'm going to make it back. I don't look at it as, oh, I'm just spending money frivolously. It's an investment. So there is a big difference. So I think that's important for if women, if you haven't invested in a coach, is that it's an investment. It's not an expense, especially if you're trying to better your life or do something better, obviously. This has been awesome, Jen. So how can people find you?
The best way to find me is, look for me on Instagram. So it's just at JenMarples. And then Instagram's kind of the portal for everything. Then you can find my podcast on there. I talk about all the events I'm going to. I'm speaking at events all the time, hosting events, doing all the things and changing some things up. So, get on there, follow me there. And I know you'll link all this in the show notes, but I also have a newsletter if you want to get involved and hear all the things I'm doing. And I provide a lot of touch points for community and connection because, as we talked about, that's like the number one thing that's going to support us. So I'm really personally going all in on that aspect in the next 6 to 9 months. So come hang with me. It's a happy place. There's a lot of really amazing dynamic midlife women on Instagram.